It was a foggy evening in October when Sarah, a young woman new to the small town of Willow Creek, moved into an old Victorian house at the edge of town. The house was perfect, a bit worn with creaky floors and tall windows that had seen 100 sunsets. But for the price, it was a steal. Everyone in the town had seemed a little hesitant when she told them where she was moving. They gave each other quiet, knowing looks but said nothing. Sarah shrugged it off as small-town oddities. The first few nights were quiet, with only the usual sounds of an old house settling. But on the third night, as she was brushing her teeth, she heard it, a soft, mournful humming drifting down the hallway. It was a gentle tune, something a mother might sing to lull a baby to sleep. But there was no one else in the house. The hairs on her arms prickled. She turned off the faucet, her heart pounding. The humming stopped. She peered out into the dimly lit hallway, but there was nothing there. Shaking her head, she laughed at herself and went to bed, blaming her overactive imagination. But the humming returned the next night. And the next. Each time, it grew a little louder, and each time, it sounded closer. By the end of the week, the sound seemed to be coming from just outside her bedroom door. One night, gathering her courage, Sarah called out, "Is anyone there?" The humming stopped abruptly. The silence that followed was deafening. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest as she waited, holding her breath. After what felt like an eternity, she heard a faint whisper, soft and sorrowful. "Please, help me." Shaken, Sarah didn't sleep that night. The next morning, she went to the town library to research the history of her house. As she combed through dusty records and faded photographs, she found a story from over a century ago. A woman named Margaret had lived in that very house. She was young and kind, but had a tragic life. One cold winter's night, she had lost her infant daughter to illness. Heartbroken, she locked herself in her room, singing that same lullaby to her empty arms until she too passed away, some said, from a broken heart. When Sarah read this, she felt a chill run down her spine. She knew she had to help. That night, as the humming began once more, she whispered into the dark, "Margaret, I'm here. I'm listening." For the first time, the humming changed. It became lighter, almost peaceful, as if the spirit had finally been heard. And then, as suddenly as it had begun, it stopped. The house fell silent, and the air felt lighter, warmer, as if a weight had been lifted. From that night on, Sarah never heard the humming again, but she kept a small candle by her window, lighting it every evening in memory of Margaret and her lost child, a small flame to keep their spirits at peace.